Second observation goes to Dori Gold. I'll start with your last statement. In my view, this statement strongly contradicts international law about what I mean about, you said about Golan. It contradicts the international law, both international law and the Russian thinking about what's going, how the issue can be resolved. Do you really think that the best way to deal with security of Israel, which is of course understandable in this part of your border, the best way is to annex the Syrian territory in the Golan Heights? You remember that there were very fruitful negotiations in the days of Hafiz al-Assad between Syria and Israel, and it was almost, 90% has been agreed. So why are you now saying that it will never come back to Syria? And what do you think about this abiding by the international law norms about that? That's the first question.
On the issue, you mentioned international law. Well, I'll tell you, as somebody who has to appear a great deal on British and American television, I hear the words international law used quite frequently. And I would just tell you the basis of my saying that our claim to the Golan Heights is not in violation of international law. And I will be very, very brief. Great international lawyers after the 1967 Six-Day War drew a distinction between wars of self-defense and wars of aggression. Taking territory in a war of aggression is a violation of international law. Asserting your rights to territory in a war of self-defense is a whole different story. And the source I recommend one turn to is the writing of Stephen Schwebel, who was president of the International Court of Justice in The Hague, and before he reached that position, wrote an article in the American Journal of International Law. True, it is a United States publication, but it is respected worldwide. And he made that distinction. Now, you could say, well, how do we know the Six-Day War? Israel was maybe an aggressor. Well, this takes us to the dark days of the Cold War, but the Soviet Union sought to have Israel branded as the aggressor after the Six-Day War. They tried it in the General Assembly. They failed. They tried it in the Security Council. They failed because it was generally understood by the international community that Israel was acting out of self-defense. And therefore, our claim to the Golan Heights is on very strong legal grounds. We're not going to expand on that, but we are not oblivious to international law. We seek to fulfill international law.